actually have Ancient Gears for you today. It appears that we have quite a little interesting challenge from the Raidraptor side of things with, oh wow, Allure Queen. And is that Vanquish still returning with VsGenesis? You guys smash and grab that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more content. So this is quite interesting because we actually have more Ancient Gear action for you. Now, for those of you that have been paying attention to this channel, every time I can find an Ancient Gear list out of Japan, I try to cover it because I think this deck's board-breaking capabilities are freaking hilarious, man. You know, you just go second, let your opponent go la-di-da-di-da, and then you just break their board. Like, that is the entire purpose of what this deck actually attempts to do. And Gear Statue is the last card that we need to complete kind of the going second mashup for this. So basically goes like, you have all the board breakers here in the world, you know, Interrupt Kaiju Slumber, you know, you got the Kaijus, you know, we have one of Ancient Gear Fusion here, which I personally feel is good enough for what this deck needs to be doing. And of course, we have VsGenesis kind of wrapping up all the nice little extra deck packages down here. I just wanted to shout out VsGenesis, man, it's been so long. Poor little guy. And of course, man, I wish I could OTK in style like the OCG. All right, next up here, we have your Allure Queen shenanigans. Now, the reason why that this deck is kind of as cool as it is this acts kind of as a nice little starter to get the deck going for the, you know, little rank 7 packages that you want to be seeing. Because, you know, Arsenal Falcon is an incredibly ignorant card for what it attempts to give to this deck, which is not really something that I was expecting to be seeing out here, but it is very nice to see. And then, of course, you know, good old Diabol says the fact that, you know, the OCG didn't really give a crap about Mind Hacker in the way that the TCG did. You know, we were just shaving 20, 30 cards off our opponent's deck. It was nothing really too crazy to think about out here, but there was a time where, you know, Mind Hacker was an amazing card, and it still gets its time out here to shine in the OCG, but not really so much here. Also, you know, we're still waiting on this Allure Queen stuff. Once we do get this Allure Queen stuff, I'm kind of thinking that the TCG might actually cook up some hilarious things. Next up here, we have VsGenesis Vanquish Soul. Now, for those of you that have been paying attention to this build has been showing up a lot over the last couple weeks. More and more people have kind of started to realize, oh, hey, you know, like there's a level of synergy that these engines have that they can actually work together with. And I like that a lot. You know, Heavy Bolga also being a 2500 is kind of stupid. Now, obviously, you know, you could play the new counter trap card in here for the 2500 if you really wanted to, but the only thing we care about is, you know, you need to be able to reveal 2500 attack monster for this guy to be able to start doing this thing, and you're just kind of off to the races. So having that in-house synergy while, you know, the rest of the Vanquish Soul stuff attempts to do its thing, this deck basically now covers its bases, and that was the thing I was super excited to see. You know, when Konami made this new support, they basically patched up some of the holes that Vanquish Soul was going through, and actually, dare I say, gave them real cards, I feel like. Next up here, we have Labyrinth with lightsworn. Okay, somebody out here decided, hey, we're gonna cook up some cool ideas, and sure, I mean, I'll give it to you. This looks kind of cool for what it is. I mean, you're basically, what, using the lightsworn stuff to kind of turbo down and mill some good cards. And then, you know, we're only playing, you know, for as much milling as I think that this deck is attempting to do, we really only have 2 transaction rollbacks in here. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. Also, Masterful Mayakashi now getting pushed into the side deck. Unfortunately, you know, you kind of lost a little bit of the steam that this card had, and we're also kind of at a different point right now in the meta that while this card is still good, you know, this deck has to be able to mill, and you're not doing a lot of milling. You're doing what I would consider is more selective milling. You know, you're still going to be able to do things, but I feel like trying to get to this is going to be a lot harder to pull off than it's really going to be worth. Okay, next up here, what in the world? We got the Symphonic Bros back with Zephyrath. All right, well, you know, this is only going to be capable of happening because Electromite and Auroradon out here are some of the stupider cards out here. Now, obviously, this is the OCG version of, we're going to play Pendulum, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Also, what in the world? We got White Forest cards mixed on into this equation as well. I guess this is just one of those scenarios that you just look how many different packages that you can just kind of shove into a deck and actually just have this work out. You know, also the fact that, you know, you are looking for deceptions to be able to roll. And I do see, you know, we are playing Sylvia and a Russelago in here. You know, both of those are going to be incredibly important pieces to, you know, kind of filtering through the extra deck to get to that big negate. So, you know, you can feel a little bit more protected. Okay, I like this. Next up here, well, we have more 60 card piles. This time, I see that we are in full swing out here with Fiendsmith cards, but then you got the Horus package in here as well. Why in the world would you ever play the protection of Horus when you have Hoppy? Hoppy is 100% better, unless, you know, you're caring about that 2,500 attack points, which would be the only scenario that I would ever want to imagine myself playing this terrible card. But if that's the cost of making these VsGenesis cards look a little bit better, then I guess we kind of have to look and consider that. Also, ooh, we get to play the Fabled Swarm down here. I see you. Also, there's Lacrima, Rex Tremende, all the little good cards that you get. But this is a nice little change of pace out here. If you're playing these combo piles out here, and you're very excited to see what these can do, I think that this is pretty awesome. Okay, next up here, we have Magical Musketeers. Okay, so, you know, we're still going to be doing the Fiendsmith package. No matter how you want to look at this deck, or, you know, want to be like, hey, you know, like no, if you're playing Magical Musketeers, you are going to play the Fiendsmith core, because Link 1 into Link 1 is broken. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That is, you know, especially on the casual side of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Spectrum, 100% that this is going to be a nice little piece to be able to bridge into. Of course, we are maximizing on saying, but this deck is also going as far as to actually playing the Primite package in here as well. Reason why you're doing the Primite stuff is because dear old Pity here is a really good card. I mean, kind of pick your place. You want to play White Douse, or do you want to play Pity? I feel like Pity's more of the flex against the opponent. You know, just kind of do what you can do. But, all right, also 14 card extra deck. You know, we still got A-Bow. I mean, we're doing everything that we came here to do. Next up here, we have Punk. Now, it's so nice to actually see that Punk got its own identity out here, you know. Punk and Gold Pride were tied together at the hip for so long. For like their entire format, those two were thick and thin. But, you know, once they made Rising Scale out here, it actually gave this deck what I would call its own identity, which is what we wanted to see. You know, Punk wants to be able to set up and do the big boards, you know. Let's call Psychic End Punisher what it is, but I mean, like, this is still going to be one of the best boss monsters that this deck has to be able to set up and punish the opponent. It's crazy how stupid that Psychic End Punisher actually can be to the game. So, in terms of developments for this deck, I mean, you put in 3 new cards and, you know, 1 Jam Fever down here in the extra deck, 4 cards technically in total, and you got a working Fiendsmith package in your Punk deck. Yeah, congratulations. That's all it takes out here in order to make this deck look a little bit more successful. I'm hoping that this will save the deck in the TCG. Oh my, we have Cyber Dragons for you today. So, do you too love the ability for Cyber Dragons to go chomp chomp on your opponent's field? Well, that's kind of what you're actually seeing here. Dear old German Gandar out here, really looking like a fantastic card. Also, the fact that you only are playing 1 Cyber Dragon, which is fairly amazing for what this deck actually looks like it has to offer out here. You know, I mean, in terms of the new stuff, man, you just slot in 2 cards. It's really sad, actually, because I think Jormungandr is a freaking hilarious card. The fact that they designed this to be able to just to beam up a Cyber Dragon is just amazing. But, you know, you're still going to be relying on the Cyber Dark stuff very heavily in this deck. It's kind of funny that the Cyber Dark stuff actually kind of became the piece that holds this deck together and actually gives it life. So, we'll take that. Next up here, we have Drag and Ruler. You know, if you see 2 Spectres, you are off to the races, because this card is just kind of the nuts, I'm guessing. From what I've seen with all the combo tutorials and things like that, this card, two of these, just so broken. I got only 1 Fairy Tale Snow in here. You know, I don't like that. I think you should be maximizing on this if you're choosing to play a deck like this, because you have all the dragons in the world out here to be able to feed off of. Also, you know, the Pile Arm Dragon, the Arm Dragon level 7. I mean, feel like it's just a missed opportunity out here for things that you could be doing. So what do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. And I will see your beautiful faces back here later. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.